It's Final Four Friday here in Oklahoma City. I'm Mike Sherman, sports editor of the Oklahoman, and we're doing a special Final Four Friday video from the Oklahoman studios in downtown Oklahoma City. Joining me from Houston, where they're going to cover the Sooners-Villanova game tomorrow at NRG Stadium, OU beat writer Ryan Aber, and columnist Barry Trammell and Jenny Carlson. Guys, the big news of today from Houston, at least from our viewpoint, is Buddy Hield's finally getting one of those Player of the Year awards. Ryan Aber, what's the significance of him winning the Oscar Robertson Award?
Oh, I don't think it's too significant other than sort of validation of what we all knew, that he's the best player in college basketball. I think it's sort of a little bit unfortunate that there was a lot of criticism yesterday after the AP award came out when Michigan State's Denzel Valentine won that award. Just because of when the vote was taken, it was completely valid to put Hield and Valentine right there neck and neck, which it was a three vote separation between them. Obviously, now that we've had the benefit of the NCAA tournament, it's very clear who college basketball's best player is. But Denzel Valentine and Buddy Hield, both fantastic players. The good news is, though, this is the award that's given out in Oklahoma City, so Buddy Hield will be there at the College Basketball Awards for that presentation.
That's in the middle of April. Barry?
April 11th.
April 11th. Barry, did Buddy get jobbed at all on the AP Player of the Year award?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, Denzel Valentine's a great player himself. You know, the vote was taken when the regular season was over. At the conclusion of the regular season, Michigan State was riding high. Valentine had been playing great. Hield had dropped off a little from that remarkable stretch in January. So, I mean, I think it was a legitimate debate. Now, if you took the vote now, it'd be a landslide. But at the time, it's a pretty clear toss-up. So, I don't think it's a scandal.
Jenny, this isn't like college football where the Heisman is the Player of the Year that everybody recognizes. There are still a couple Players of the Year awards left. What are they, and who will win them?
Well, you're still got the Naismith left, and that's another award like the Robertson Award. The voting was done after the NCAA tournament started, so you've got some of Hield's NCAA tournament games that will be included, and then obviously Michigan State's early exit will be, a knock against Valentine. So that's one of the other big ones to come out, and I think we'll see Buddy win that one. It's been a few years since we've had kind of a divided Player of the Year race, but it's not unprecedented. I mean, you've had years in the past where we've seen, guys share, a couple guys pop up as winning these awards. And frankly, the way these two players were sort of talked about all year, I think that, what Ryan said earlier is right. If you're voting before the NCAA tournament started, you're probably going to have about a 50-50 split, which is exactly what we saw in the AP balloting. It was only 3 votes different. So very close balloting, and I think if you're just looking at the regular season, you're probably going to have a pretty close call between those two.
We're new to the live television business, so I'll ask you that we're live video business. What's all that shouting in the background, Barry and Jenny?
I'm going to have to defer to Barry because I don't think that's me.
I don't think it's me.
It might be here with me. Right. This is one of the few areas where you can manage a little bit of quietness at the NRG Center around the media area and still be in air conditioning. So I think there was a TV crew doing some stuff in this room just a second ago. Okay,
it sounded like somebody was making announcements for train departures. Just wanted to make sure you guys weren't headed anywhere. Hey, Ryan, last word on the Player of the Year. Is the problem when the award is announced, not so much how the voting goes? Sounds like to me, remembering that Michigan State won the Big Ten championship, OU did not win the Big 12. As Barry said, Valentine was playing better then, but he was it was close. Would it have been better just to announce it right before the NCAA tournament and then so be it?
Yeah, I don't get this separation between when the voting closes and when the announcement happens, especially when it's like that, where you've got many games decided between then. It made sense when they had paper ballots. You had to mail it in. It took a while to tabulate. Anymore, all these votes are done online. They're done very quickly. You can announce a winner like that. So why not do that? I think that took a little bit away from Denzel Valentine's award, unfortunately, and made that the bigger story rather than the great season that he had, the great season that Buddy Hield had.
On to the game, tomorrow evening. Villanova, OU. Barry, I see where Villanova is a 2-point under favorite. Favorite over the Sooners, who they lost to by more than 20 points over in Hawaii back in December, I believe. How do you explain Villanova being favored in this game?
Well, you're asking me to explain why Vegas thinks that the American public thinks a certain thing. And so it really, to me, it's completely irrelevant. The truth of the matter is the people that bet, the American betting public, a good bunch of them don't know what happened in December. They know a lot more about names. Villanova, at least in recent years, has been a bigger basketball name than Oklahoma. So Villanova's ranked number 1. They've had a fantastic season. They've got a better record. So, a lot of reasons to think that the bettors would sort of shift a little bit toward Villanova.
Jenny, is there anything on the court that would lead us to believe that Villanova has a slight edge?
I can't remember who said it yesterday, but somebody in our availability with the OU players mentioned the fact that Villanova beat Kansas, and that's something that Oklahoma wasn't able to do in 2 tries. So, I think obviously Oklahoma has got a good formula for beating Villanova. Villanova, as Ryan is working to write tomorrow, has this, zone defense that they've used to pretty good effect this year. But if you play zone against Oklahoma, you're going to have to bet that Oklahoma's going to have an off day, and they haven't had many. So Villanova's going to have to defend, probably not using that zone as much as they want to. So I think it's going to be it's largely a toss-up game. But I think the one thing that might be swaying some people is, hey, Villanova is able to beat Kansas, the overall top seed in this tournament, a team that Oklahoma lost to twice, and maybe that's reason to go with the Cats.
Ryan, the best win anybody's got, as Jenny points out, these 2 teams, Villanova over Kansas. Nobody's followed this closer than you. How have these teams changed since they met in December, and how will that impact the game on Saturday?
Well, I think the big thing that Villanova has done is relied much less on the three-pointer. At that point, they were shooting more than 50% of their shots from behind the three-point line. That has completely changed. They've started using Daniel Ochefu a whole lot more on the interior. He's been a big part of what they're doing offensively, and the reason that they've gotten so much better since that game. You're not going to have Villanova shoot 4 of 32 from behind the three-point line like they did in that first meeting. Of course, Oklahoma did it with a different kind of game from Buddy Hield. He had some shots early, but overall, not a very efficient game from him out in Hawaii. But instead, Rashard Odoms and Denzel Walker played big games in that, and they're not even in the rotation at this point. But this is a much different Villanova team than we saw. Like Jenny said, they're using the zone a whole lot more. I don't know that they're going to have much of an opportunity, though, to use it against the Sooners because of how well they shoot.
Stay with that topic for a second, Ryan. You guys have been in the cavernous NRG Stadium, another one of these big houses that the Final Fours are now played in every year. Raised floors, cavernous shooting backdrops. What impact is that going to have on these 2 teams?
I think it's a little bit overblown because you see the shooting percentages go down the last few years when they play in these places without the factored in the fact that you're playing against really good defenses. You're already a little bit nervous given the stage that it is the Final Four. But the good thing is now they have 3 practices in here before the game. They have a Thursday and Friday shoot around, and then on Saturday morning we'll get back in here and shoot before the game. And talked to Denzel Walker earlier today, and he said the first 10 or 15 minutes is really dicey because you've sort of got to get your bearings. But after that, he said it's just like shooting it anywhere else. There's just some differences in the way that it's perceived.
Barry, you were a big-time shooter back in your day. You buying any of that?
Oh, one thing they do to make it help is they get the Laker effect going. They dim the lights, so it's not like you can see all the way to the top row of the seats. It's still an optical problem, no doubt about it, but it's not as pronounced as it could be if they lit the whole place up. It's got the when you put up a stage, you're going for the theater look, the theater feel. That's what they've got with the lights. So I think that helps minimize the overall impact of it, but it still is a problem to some degree because, to me, I always thought the stage was as big of a problem as the big dome because, people played in domes, but when you're playing on stage and your teammates are sitting below your feet, your coach is up on a stool, and you're above fans. You're looking down at fans. It's just a strange phenomenon. So to me, that's sort of the bigger problem is the stage effect.
Jenny, if this was such a good deal, teams build new arenas from time to time. Why didn't everybody gradually move to the big stage like this?
You mean on the college campuses?
OU's like to replace Lloyd Noble. Teams are moving into new arenas. Why is the big stage the thing to do in the Final Four, but nobody's doing it before then?
Well, because essentially you're talking about football fields. I mean, since they went to this setup, they've essentially all been in football arenas. I mean, the first year they did the elevated floor was 2009 at Ford Field, where the Detroit Lions play. Since then, it's been in Indy at Lucas Oil Stadium, where Colts play. It's been at Houston here 5 years ago. Now it's back. It's been in New Orleans at the Superdome, Georgia Dome, AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys play. So unless you're gonna do what Syracuse does, unless you're gonna play your basketball in your football stadium like they do at the Carrier Dome, you're probably not going to have this kind of feel on campus. I mean, this is not a basketball arena by any stretch of the imagination. And unless you're going to do a dual-purpose football, basketball, indoor facility, you're just unlikely to see it. So I just don't think you're going to see teams able to replicate this and in any sort of form or fashion on their campuses. It's just going to be a Final Four thing. And I don't know about anybody else, but I stood and watched the Sooners open practice today the whole time. They largely spent the whole time shooting, and they didn't make every shot, but they made a lot of shots. And, I'm sure every team is making shots, but, I saw a lot of the same sorts of things I saw at practice this year when I was able to go out and see the Sooners shoot at practice. They make a lot of shots. They made a lot of shots here. Does that mean they're going to shoot a good percentage Saturday? I have no idea, but they look comfortable out there today.
Okay, Jenny, staying with you.
Go ahead, Barry. Here's another thing to remember. This is a special thing. There are not any good seats out there. Out of 77, I think the capacity is 76,339 for the Final Four. There's not 500 good seats. Even the seats that are closer than others are bad seats. You're away from you're going pretty remarkably horizontal away from the court. Think of the way Gallagher-Iba is a great arena. That's because it all goes straight up. These all go straight out. All the seats are bad. There are no good seats in this place. You would never design a basketball facility anything resembling this.
Seems like somewhat of a bad idea for your showcase event, but pressing on. Jenny, coming back to you. Most important Sooner reserve Saturday against Villanova.
I will go with. I was going to go with one of the bigs, and I suppose I'll probably go with Jemani McNeese.
Wow.
The big guys for Villanova have been playing better and better, and I'm a little bit concerned about Kadeem Latin and the foul trouble. He has stayed out of it of late, and I think that's been one of the reasons we've seen Oklahoma play so well. But on a stage like this, to see him get a little hyped up and maybe have some foul trouble. So I think having those reserves on the inside who are able to step in and play good defense, maybe not score to the level that Kadeem Latin can, but to get some good minutes out of reserve bigs, I think is going to be potentially important. Not Christian James, obviously. I think could play into it too, but I'll say those bigs for some reserve minutes if if Latin falls into foul trouble.
Ryan, who's your most important reserve for the Sooners? How about it, Barry? Who's yours?
Well, I like McNeese as a great choice. I will go with Christian James, though, because Kruger's been relying on the freshman from Houston more and more. Played 26 minutes, I think, against Oregon. He's going to play a ton on Saturday night, and if he can play well, that means foul trouble on the perimeter doesn't really matter. That means that an off night from a Woodard or a Cousins is not as catastrophic. Christian James has come up huge in some of these games down the stretch. If he continues to play like that, Oklahoma is just that much better.
Okay, guys, I think we lost Ryan, so I'm going to stay with you, Barry. There's 4 teams there. Rank them from most likely to least likely to be the champion come Monday night.
Well, I'll go Carolina, Oklahoma, Villanova, Syracuse, and the 2 in the middle, virtually even. Oklahoma, Villanova. And that seems to me be a toss-up game. It's quite apparent that Syracuse, Carolina is not a toss-up game. So, I give OU a little bit of an edge just because I do think that victory in December is a nice psychological edge. Sooners routed Villanova without a big game from Buddy Hield. If Buddy Hield has a big game, can Villanova win? I don't think so.
Jenny, are your rankings any different?
Yeah, I'd probably go with that. Although I don't think you can say there's all that much separation between Oklahoma and North Carolina. Now, I do agree with Barry. I think the Villanova-Oklahoma game is a bit of a toss-up because you've got, strength at the guard position on both teams. But Oklahoma, maneuvers through there. I would not be shocked to see them beat North Carolina because we've seen in NCAA tournaments guard play and veteran play is important. And this is a team with veteran guards. They combine the two, so you've got guards who know what they're doing, and they're good. So, I think we've seen that advantage play again and again in this NCAA tournament. And, to me, that could be, it's not an X factor because we know it exists, but that could be where this turns, is just having those guards who are so veteran and so talented. I think that could turn the tide for Oklahoma. It would not surprise me to see them crowned champions on Monday night.
Guys, before Lon Kruger spoke today, I was going to throw in a question about whether there was any chance, if the Sooners won Monday night, that Lon Kruger would walk off into the sunset and retire. Think I should just scratch that after Kruger's comments today, Barry?
No, I think you should have scrapped it when we saw Steve Henson get the UTSA job. If there was a chance Lon Kruger was going to leave, I think it's quite likely that Henson might have been elevated to replace him, and so I don't think he'd have been encouraged to go to San Antonio. So I think Lon Kruger is planning to coach beyond this year. And here's the other thing: I don't think coaches ever they shouldn't. If they're smart, Lon Kruger's smart. You should never make a coaching decision based on, well, if I win this game, I'm going to stay. If he's ready to move on with his life, if he's ready to enter a new chapter, it's got to be based a whole lot more on just the outcome of one game.
Jenny Kruger said he'd like to finish up at Oklahoma. It did not sound like that finish up was a period at the end of the sentence at the end of this year. So I'll end this by asking you, you're a big fan of One Shining Moment, I know that. What is your not so obvious one shining moment from this tournament, which we've been fortunate to be very interested and cover up close?
Golly, let me see. Not so obvious. Oh, there were so many good moments at the games we had in the Peak, and yet that seemed like a million years ago. I'm trying to even think of a good one. I'm sorry, my brain is not springing anything to life. I have to admit, I'm caught in a little flat-footed. But man, we at the Peak. Let's remember, guys. We had the best shot of the tournament. Still stands as the best shot. We had the best individual performance. I would argue that's still the case, although Buddy pushed it with that Oregon game. Thanks a lot, Buddy. And then we had the best game with that comeback. So, I mean, we had an amazing regional, and again, it's hard to believe it's been so long ago, but man, what a great couple of days in Oklahoma City.
Barry, is the one shining moment the AP photograph of you and I, our astonished faces as Northern Iowa threw in a half-court shot? Is that our one shining moment?
Well, yes, that was our one shining moment. I don't know if it was a moment or if it was shining or if anybody in the nation cares. But if you're looking for the shot of the tournament, Paul Jesperson still has it. A half-court shot to win an NCAA tournament game. Last happened 35 years ago. U.S. Reed and Paul Jesperson matched it for Northern Iowa. And then, of course, 2 days later, as Jacko said, Northern Iowa has a heartbreaker with the colossal collapse. So that's sort of the way it works. The key on one shining moment is to not be the one shining moment, not be the face of this tournament. The key is be the last shining moment. If you'll remember the old Luther Vandross song, the team that wins on Monday night is the team that finishes off the song, and that's where you want to be. You want to be at the end of the song.
I can hear Darnell Mayberry's heart go pitter-patter as you talk about Luther Vandross, Barry. We'll end it right there. That's all for this edition of Final Four Friday. Easy for me to say, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoman. Yeah.